This is Boxing with Chris Mannix.
Oh, somebody punch him in the face.
Teofimo Lopez against Sandor Martin at Madison Square Garden. Martin, a late replacement, but a pretty good one. It was just last year that Martin beat Mikey Garcia in a big upset. Now he gets a chance to potentially secure a second one. You know, you saw Teofimo's debut at 140 pounds, and a lot of people are critical of that. They thought he got hit too much. They thought he looked a little bit slower at 140. What did you think of Teofimo's first fight at 140, and what are you kind of hoping to see from him in this one?
You know, in retrospect, it makes sense, especially when he admitted, you know, I think he admitted more so after the fact. He didn't really talk about it too much, that he had a very short training camp going into that first fight. His first fight at 140. A lot of people didn't even know if he was going to go through with it. They didn't know where his head was at. That was always the biggest issue. It was just like him getting right mentally. So if it seemed like it took that part of it was longer, then he had the short camp. So it made sense that, you know, he had to, you know, get rid of a lot of rust and, you know, just get him, you know, himself back acclimated into the ring. So I do kind of forgive that. I do believe we'll see a better Teofimo Lopez this weekend. I will say I don't think he's the same as what Mikey Garcia was in October 2021, where, you know, even at his absolute best, and I don't know if he's going to make the Hall of Fame, but there is an argument, you know, maybe just barely, but he's always kind of had one foot out the door with boxing. So in that, you know, when we saw that last year, it was like the fight almost kind of never got going, and that absolutely worked to Sandor Martin's advantage. I don't see that being the case this weekend. I do love Sandor Martin's confidence, though. He is not shook. We saw the photo shoot they had yesterday. You know, Teofimo's trying to get inside his head, and Sandor Martin had plenty to say. I don't know how well Teofimo Lopez speaks. I think he speaks Spanish, so we should have understood what Sandor Martin had to say. But yeah, he's, you know, certainly sounding like he's here for another upset.
These Spanish guys just brimming with confidence. Carmona this past weekend against Julio Cesar Martinez. Carmona probably would have won that fight if he didn't bust his hand up in the middle round, stop throwing left hands. Right. I like Sandor Martin's confidence as well. I agree with you that Mikey Martin was as much about Mikey as it was Sandor Martin. Like, Mikey just wasn't into it. He's not a 147-pounder. He was just, that was his farewell. And Sandor Martin, to his credit, took advantage of it. Now he was able to cash in on it because he won. I really didn't understand the criticism of Teofimo against Campa. Yeah, he got hit a little bit, and you know, maybe more than he should have, and a bigger puncher might have done a little bit more damage, but he still got him out of there in the seventh round. You know, still won that fight by knockout, and like, he's only going to get better as he stays active. The best Teofimo Lopez is an active Teofimo Lopez, and here he is back again, 4 or 5 months later, in a good fight, a high-profile fight coming after the Heisman ceremony. I think he's going to be fine. I think he's going to look great in this fight. I think he's going to reestablish himself as, you know, a top guy in this weight class. The question I have now is, how will Top Rank move him after this fight? Not to look past Sandor Martin, but I think he gets the win. And then it comes to, where does he go from here? I think Top Rank, their preference is to do Teofimo against the winner of Josh Taylor, Jack Catterall, assuming it is Josh Taylor who is their guy. Teofimo's been talking a lot about Taylor as well. That fight, though, just got pushed back deeper into February. The interesting one to me, Jake, is Regis Prograis. I don't believe that we're going to get Prograis Ramirez in the next fight. I don't think Jose Ramirez is going to take that fight. That's been relayed to me by a couple of people. I think it's more likely you get Ramirez in some kind of tune-up fight before he goes on to a world title shot. If he passes, at least by the ever-fluid rules of the WBC, Teofimo Lopez would be next in line. And I've asked Teofimo, who's on the podcast after this, I've asked him, would he take that fight? He said, abso-bleep-and-lutely, I would take that fight. Do you think he's being truthful there? Do you think Top Rank would put Teofimo in with Regis Prograis at this stage?
I will say this. So I'm with you. I was always told that regardless of the WBC status, Josh Taylor was the fight he wanted. That had plenty of heat. They had plenty to say about each other. This was back when Josh Taylor and Catterall was supposed to fight November 26th. That date's now been pushed back right to February. Now it's going to March. You know, they don't want to stack the pay-per-views over there. So if Taylor's fight is now pushed out of Teofimo's timetable, we just said, you know, an active Teofimo Lopez is a dangerous Teofimo Lopez. Maybe he absolutely wants that smoke. Maybe he does go after Regis, especially if it's a straight shot at Regis too. He doesn't have to wait out a Regis fight with Jose Ramirez anymore. So, he's gonna have to do something, because anything else is a risk. He's made it pretty obvious. He doesn't want to fight. He doesn't want to fight Rick Meridian's guys. He doesn't want to fight, Arnold Barbosa. There's something very personal there. where, you know, Rick keeps going after him, and Teofimo's like, well, you know, I'm just not going to give you guys any payday then. So, yeah, he's going to have to do something. I think if he's, I don't know if ESPN can give him another stay busy fight to bridge that gap to get to Josh Taylor. So maybe he does just go straight for that second title shot. He keeps saying he wants to be, look, he wasn't undisputed at lightweight, but, you know, if he thinks he was, then he wants to, you know, become undisputed in 2 weight divisions. So the only way to do that is to start winning titles.
I agree with you. When the Taylor fight got pushed back again, it started to make me wonder, like, would Teofimo be willing to wait? Because a lot can happen. I mean, Taylor could lose to Catterall, and then that makes that fight completely obsolete. And Taylor could win, be like, you know what, screw it, I'm not staying at 140. I think it is likely he would stay at 140 because what's left for him at 140, or what's up there at 147? Like, do you really want to climb the ranks and let Boots Ennis kick the crap out of you, or, you know, Virgil Ortiz, or, you know, fights like that don't make a lot of business sense for Josh Taylor. Yeah, but if something goes wrong, if there's a cut, you know, that pushes it into the summer, like, I can't see Teofimo sitting on the bench for 6 months. And, you know, Prograis fight could be is a pretty marketable one. Like, Prograis talks a lot of shit too. You know, Teofimo talks a lot. I mean, I would probably favor Prograis at this point, but if Teofimo goes out and blasts Sandor Martin out of there, we could be talking about Teofimo once again as the guy that beat Lomachenko, this guy that, you know, the Kambosos loss was an aberration. The Campa fight was just a shake off the rust fight. Here he is, 5 pounds heavier as a top guy. That's a, you know, I'm not sure if that's a pay-per-view on ESPN. That's a pretty attractive fight for ESPN to put on.
No, I agree with you 100%. The only thing I'm thinking of is if, you know, Top Rank is obviously moving towards Devin Haney and Vasily Lomachenko. They want to keep that fight off pay-per-view. Now we're talking about spending a lot of money, like in this first half of the year, to put both of those fights on ESPN. As you said, it's probably, maybe the payday would push it to pay-per-view. That doesn't necessarily make it a pay-per-view fight, though, a pay-per-view sellable fight. The only thing I can think with Teofimo, if he bridges the gap, you know, assuming he wins this weekend, maybe he goes back to fighting Jose Pedraza if he's available. Maybe that helps him, you know, bridge that gap to get to Josh Taylor. If Josh beats Catterall and decides, okay, I'm going to stick around at a weight that would make sense, you know, to fight Teofimo, because they're not going to fight at 147. So that's the only thing.
That's a good name.
Yeah. So you know,
that's a good name for him. Yeah.
Yeah, and then, you know, it's a matter of ESPN, you know, now you're dishing out 2 paydays because they were going to pay for, you know, Lopez and Pedraza this weekend. They got Sandor Martin. Now you're going to have to pay him a lot of money to go fight Pedraza to get to that bigger fight. You know, Top Rank's, it's not Top Rank's problem that Prograis will need someone to fight if he doesn't have Jose Ramirez. So I like I said, if they are available and Teofimo looks like the Teofimo of old, I would love to see Prograis Teofimo next. But if not, I wouldn't be surprised to see Pedraza work his way back into the mix.
Yeah, I don't think Top Rank is interested in getting in the Prograis business, but if Teofimo pushes for it, and if that fight makes a lot of sense and could potentially be put on pay-per-view, I don't know. And stranger things have certainly happened in boxing.